My name is Ethan, and I'm 26 years old. Just a few weeks ago, I left behind the relentless pace of downtown life for the tranquil charm of Willow Creek, a small town nestled in rolling hills. I'd been let go from my graphic design job due to company downsizing, and the city's constant hum never felt like home. Craving simplicity, I found a cozy, weathered cottage with peeling green paint and creaky stairs in this quiet town. Willow Creek was a haven of tidy lawns and blooming flower beds, a stark contrast to the concrete jungle I'd known. In my short time here, I'd learned the names of my neighbors, exchanged friendly nods, and earned a reputation as the helpful newcomer. I've always found satisfaction in lending a hand, whether it was hauling compost bags, fixing a wobbly fence, or clearing snow from a driveway. It felt good to be useful, especially to the older residents who appreciated the small gestures. Next door lived Clara, a 43-year-old woman with striking hazel eyes and auburn hair that caught the sunlight. She was the youngest of my immediate neighbors and carried herself with a quiet elegance. I'd heard from hushed town gossip that her partner had passed away in a hiking accident 6 years prior. Clara kept to herself, tending her rose garden or gazing out her window, her eyes often meeting mine with a soft, lingering smile that grew warmer each time. Across the lane was Vanessa, 47, whose husband was rarely home, always away on vague consulting trips. Vanessa had wavy chestnut hair, a bold laugh, and a penchant for vibrant scarves and fitted jackets. She was quick with a compliment, tossing playful remarks my way as I raked her leaves or carried groceries inside. Beneath her lively demeanor, though, I sensed a quiet ache, a loneliness she masked with charm. I kept our interactions light, but couldn't ignore her tendency to blur the line between friendly and forward. A few houses down lived Rachel, 44, a fiercely independent woman navigating a messy divorce. Her home, grand but oddly sterile, was shared with a soon-to-be ex-husband who was more a ghost than a presence. Rachel's sharp features and jet-black hair matched her no-nonsense attitude, but her frequent requests for help, tightening a loose cabinet or moving heavy planters, hinted at a need for connection rather than actual repairs. Despite her tough exterior, I could tell she craved someone to notice her. Then there was Hannah, 38, who lived across the street. Recently single, she was reserved, her dark blonde hair often pulled back as she read on her porch swing or tended her herb garden. Unlike the others, Hannah never asked for favors, offering only a polite nod or a fleeting smile. Her quiet strength intrigued me, but I hadn't yet found the nerve to strike up a real conversation. Willow Creek was a tapestry of calm streets and complex lives, each neighbor carrying their own blend of solitude and unspoken yearning. One crisp afternoon, as I pruned my overgrown shrubs, Clara called out from her garden gate, her voice softer than usual. "Ethan, could you stop by later? My bathroom faucet's dripping, and I'm hopeless with a wrench." "Happy to help, Clara," I replied, brushing dirt from my hands. Her smile was warm, almost shy, as she thanked me. Later, I knocked on her door, toolbox in hand. Clara's home smelled faintly of chamomile, its cozy warmth a stark contrast to the autumn chill outside. She led me to the bathroom, where I found a loose washer causing the leak. As I worked, Clara leaned against the doorframe, chatting lightly at first. Soon, her words turned personal, her voice low as she spoke of the emptiness left by her partner's death, the weight of managing life alone. I listened, offering quiet empathy. "You're kind, Ethan," she said, stepping closer, her eyes soft but intense. "Most young people wouldn't bother with someone like me." "You're not exactly ancient," I teased gently, testing the faucet. "And I like helping out." Clara's gaze lingered, her expression shifting to something deeper, more searching. "All done," I said, suddenly aware of the quiet intensity in the room. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice carrying a weight that made my pulse quicken. As I moved toward the door, I heard a soft click, the lock sliding into place. I turned, startled, to find Clara standing closer, her eyes locked on mine with a subtle, knowing smile. "You're kind, Ethan," she said again, her tone softer, laced with something unspoken. "But you're not just the helpful neighbor, are you?" My heart raced, caught between curiosity and unease. The air felt charged, her words heavy with possibility. I stood frozen, unsure of her meaning, but certain I'd stepped into something far more complicated than a leaky faucet. The silence stretched, thick with tension. I swallowed, trying to keep my voice steady. "Clara, I'm just glad I could help," I said, aiming for calm respect. Her eyes searched mine, probing, as if peeling back my words for hidden truths. After a long moment, she smiled faintly, the intensity fading into something softer, sadder. "Of course, Ethan," she said, her tone returning to its familiar warmth. "I'm sorry if I seemed off. Loneliness does strange things sometimes." "I get it," I replied, offering a reassuring nod. "You're not alone here, Clara. I'm right next door if you need me." She unlocked the door, stepping back with a small, genuine smile. I stepped outside, the cool air grounding me as I waved goodbye. "Good night, Clara," I called, feeling her gaze linger as I crossed back to my cottage. Sleep didn't come easily that night. Clara's words, and that fleeting lock click played on repeat in my mind. Had I misread her? Or had something shifted between us? I wasn't sure, but I knew I needed to be cautious. Over the next few days, I tried to settle back into routine, helping neighbors with small tasks. But something had changed. Vanessa's flirtations felt sharper, her casual visits to my yard more deliberate. She'd lean against my fence, her smiles lingering, her eyes catching mine with new intent. Rachel, too, seemed different, her usual brisk demeanor softened, her requests for help feeling more like excuses to talk. One evening, Vanessa waved me over from her porch. "Ethan, could you help with something inside? My husband's off again and I'm stuck." I hesitated but crossed the street, reminding myself she was just a neighbor in need. Her home was pristine, all polished wood and sleek decor, yet it felt hollow. She gestured to a shelf that needed adjusting, but first offered me a glass of iced tea. "Thought you might like a break," she said, her smile playful as she sat closer than necessary. "It's nice having you around, Ethan. My husband's always gone, and this house gets so quiet." Her fingers grazed mine as she handed me the glass, her touch lingering. I pulled back gently, sipping the tea to mask my unease. "That must be tough," I said carefully. "I'm sorry." Vanessa leaned in, her voice soft. "It's lonely. But you notice things. That means a lot." Her words carried a weight I couldn't ignore, stirring a mix of sympathy and discomfort. I focused on the shelf, trying to keep things light, but the air felt heavier with every passing moment. I listened to Vanessa with care, keeping my responses neutral to avoid fueling her vulnerability into something more. After finishing the tea, I stood, eager to escape the growing tension. "Thanks for the tea, Vanessa," I said politely. "I should head out. Let me know if you need help with anything else." She rose slowly, her eyes holding mine with an intensity that unsettled me. "You're too kind, Ethan," she murmured, stepping closer than needed. Feeling a knot in my stomach, I moved quickly to the door, the fresh air outside washing over me like a wave of relief. As I crossed the lane to my cottage, my heart sank. Rachel stood on my porch, arms crossed, her sharp features set in a frown. "Hey, Rachel," I said cautiously, forcing a casual tone. "Everything okay?" Her gaze was cool, edged with irritation. "I saw you leave Vanessa's place," she said bluntly, eyes narrowing. "She's trouble, Ethan. You'd be wise to steer clear." I hesitated, caught off guard. "I was just helping out," I explained, keeping my voice steady. Rachel raised an eyebrow, her tone dripping with skepticism. Sure, she needed help. "Be careful, Ethan. Not everyone here is as innocent as they act." She turned and strode off before I could reply, leaving me standing there, confused and uneasy. Inside my cottage, I locked the door and sank onto the couch, head in my hands. First Clara, now Vanessa, and Rachel's warning. Each woman seemed to want something more than neighborly kindness. Willow Creek, with its charming streets and tidy gardens, suddenly felt like a maze of hidden motives. I spent the evening replaying Rachel's words, her caution about Vanessa echoing in my mind. She's trouble. She's not who you think. Sleep eluded me, the ceiling above my bed a canvas for every lingering glance, every charged moment. The next morning, before I could finish my coffee, a sharp knock rattled my door. Rachel stood there, her expression intense, almost commanding. "Morning, Ethan," she said, her voice clipped. "Got a second?" My dining room chandelier's flickering, and I can't sort it out. "Can you take a look?" "Sure," I replied warily, grabbing my toolbox despite the unease prickling my spine. Neighborly duty won out, but I was on edge. I followed her to her house, the quiet streets of Willow Creek feeling oddly still, as if watching. Her home was pristine, polished floors, sleek furniture, but it felt cold like a stage set. Rachel pointed to the chandelier, and I set up a ladder, her presence close as I worked. Glancing down, I noticed her usual practical attire replaced by a form-fitting sweater and skirt, her dark hair loose, framing her face. Her eyes met mine, bold and deliberate, challenging me to look away. "Just a loose wire," I said quickly, focusing on the task. "Fixed now." I climbed down, ready to leave, but Rachel stepped into my path, her perfume sharp and heady. My pulse quickened. "Thanks, Ethan," she said, her voice low, almost a whisper. But I meant what I said about Vanessa. "She plays games, dangerous ones." "I appreciate the heads up," I replied, keeping my tone even. "I'm just here to help out, nothing more." Rachel tilted her head, studying me. Her hand brushed my arm, lingering just long enough to send a jolt through me. "You're young, Ethan, but you're not clueless. You see what's happening here, don't you?" I stepped back, creating space. "I think it's best I keep things simple," I said firmly, hoping to draw a line. She smiled, more amused than deterred. "If you say so. Just don't say I didn't warn you." I left quickly, my mind spinning as I returned to my cottage. Clara's subtle intensity, Vanessa's calculated charm, Rachel's bold approach, each interaction felt like a thread tightening around me. I stayed inside most of the day, avoiding the outside world, trying to regain some control. But doubt gnawed at me. Was I misreading these moments, or was I secretly enjoying the attention, despite the discomfort it brought? By late afternoon, restless and needing air, I stepped into my backyard. The sun was warm, a soft breeze stirring the leaves. Across the fence, Hannah sat on her porch swing, lost in a book, her calm presence a stark contrast to the chaos in my head. She glanced up, catching my eye, and offered a small, genuine smile. I waved back, feeling a flicker of peace. Unlike the others, Hannah seemed untouched by the neighborhood's undercurrents, her quiet authenticity a lifeline. I wondered about her story, why she kept such distance, what made her so composed yet guarded. Her serenity drew me in, a puzzle I wanted to understand. Unlike Clara, Vanessa, or Rachel, Hannah seemed to want nothing from me, and that made her all the more compelling. Standing there, watching her turn a page, I realized something. My need to help others might stem from a deeper craving for connection, but the way the others sought me out felt manipulative, leaving me uneasy. Hannah was different. Her quiet strength felt real, untainted by hidden agendas. I wanted to talk to her, to learn how she stayed so grounded amid the neighborhood's tangled dynamics, but I hesitated, unsure if I'd earned a place in her world. Instead, I lingered in my yard, drawing comfort from her distant presence. Tomorrow, I decided, I'd find a way to approach her, to see if she might offer insight or simply a friendship free of complications. As dusk settled over Willow Creek, I retreated inside, locking my door and closing the blinds, needing a shield from the tensions outside. For the first time, I admitted the truth. I felt trapped, caught in a web of expectations I hadn't meant to weave. Everyone seemed to want something from me. Everyone except Hannah. Her calm simplicity stood out, a beacon in the storm. That night, I lay awake, grappling with the mess I'd stumbled into. I needed to find a way out before I was pulled in too deep. The next morning, sunlight spilled into my room, carrying a faint promise of clarity. I woke with a resolve to connect with Hannah, to break through her quiet reserve. Stepping outside, I saw her on her porch, a mug steaming beside her, her hair loosely tied back, unassuming and real. "Morning, Hannah," I called softly across the fence. She looked up, surprised, then smiled warmly. "Morning, Ethan. Nice day, isn't it? Mind if I join you?" I asked, heart lifting at her nod. "Not at all," she said, shifting to make room on the swing. Sitting beside her, I felt an immediate calm, the weight of recent days easing. We talked about the town books, why we'd both chosen Willow Creek. Her words were thoughtful, deliberate, her presence grounding. "You've settled in fast," she said after a pause. "Seems like everyone's taken a liking to you." I sighed, a bit sheepish. "Maybe too much sometimes." Hannah's gaze met mine, steady and kind, her expression softening with understanding. "Willow Creek isn't as quaint as it seems," she said quietly. "People here, especially those who've been alone for a while, have their own reasons for seeking connection." Her words hit close, and I realized she saw more than I'd thought. "Yeah," I admitted, shifting on the swing. "Things have gotten messy lately." She nodded, her smile gentle but knowing. "I've noticed. Loneliness can push people to act in ways they wouldn't otherwise. Sometimes, lonely folks can be dangerous without even meaning to." A chill ran through me, but her calm presence grounded me. "Thanks for saying that," I said earnestly. "I didn't mean to get caught up in all this." "That's how it goes," Hannah replied. "You're kind, Ethan, always helping out. It's easy for others to read more into it." Silence settled between us, comfortable and real. For the first time since moving to Willow Creek, I felt truly seen, not as the helpful neighbor but as myself. Hannah didn't flirt or manipulate. She was just there, honest and unassuming. I appreciate you being straight with me, I said, turning to her with gratitude. That's been rare around here. She smiled softly. I learned the hard way. Honesty keeps things clearer than pretending. I excused myself reluctantly, promising to visit again soon. Stepping off her porch, I felt lighter, but a new weight lingered. Hannah's warning had clarified what I'd been dodging. I needed to set boundaries. Over the next few days, I kept my distance from Clara, Vanessa, and Rachel. I helped with urgent tasks, a leaky pipe, a stuck gate, but left quickly, keeping conversations short and neutral. At first, I hoped they'd respect the space, but my withdrawal only seemed to fuel their persistence. Clara called more often, her voice soft but urgent, always with a small, pressing task. Vanessa lingered near my cottage, her outfits bolder, her smiles more calculated. Rachel's requests grew sharp, almost confrontational, as if testing my resolve. One afternoon, as I clipped my front shrubs, Vanessa appeared, resting her hand lightly on my arm. "Ethan, darling," she purred, leaning close. "You've been so busy lately, especially with Hannah." I tensed, gently moving her hand. "Hannah's a friend," I said firmly. "I'm just trying to help everyone out." Her smile flickered, a shadow crossing her eyes. "Just be careful," she said cryptically. "Not everyone's as simple as they seem." Her words hung heavy as she walked away, leaving me uneasy. That evening, Rachel knocked on my door, her tone clipped. "You've been scarce lately, Ethan. Did Hannah say something you shouldn't trust?" I sighed, exhausted by the pressure. "It's not Hannah," I said. "I'm just trying to keep things clear, Rachel. That's all." She studied me, eyes narrowing. "Clear can feel lonely," she warned. "Don't shut everyone out. Not all of us mean harm." I nodded politely, closing the door as she left, my sense of calm fraying. Each interaction felt like navigating a minefield, balancing kindness with self-preservation. Hannah, though, remained a haven. Our evenings on her porch became a refuge, her quiet wisdom easing my tension. We didn't discuss the others directly, but her earlier warning lingered, shaping my caution. One evening, as the sunset painted Willow Creek in hues of amber and violet, Hannah glanced at me thoughtfully. "You know, Ethan," she said softly, "distance might not be enough. You'll need to face this head-on eventually." I nodded, her words ringing true. Hannah wasn't naive, her realism grounded me, and I valued her perspective more each day. As night fell, I resolved to focus on her honesty, her simplicity, knowing it was rare in this tangled town. But even as I committed to this path, unease stirred. My attempts to pull back had only intensified the others' efforts, their subtle games growing bolder. Walking home, I realized Willow Creek's calm facade hid a web of unspoken desires. Protecting my connection with Hannah would take more than boundaries. It would demand confronting the chaos I'd stumbled into. The next week, tensions escalated. Despite my efforts, Clara, Vanessa, and Rachel pushed harder, their requests feeling like veiled demands. Clara, in particular, seemed relentless. One afternoon, as I returned from the market, she was waiting by my porch, her eyes heavy with unspoken weight. "Ethan," she said softly, stepping closer. "Can we talk?" I nodded, gesturing to the porch steps. We sat, and Clara was quiet for a moment, gathering her thoughts. "I've seen you with Hannah a lot," she began, her voice low, tinged with hurt. "I didn't think you'd get so close to her." "Hannah's a good person," I said carefully. "I like her company." Clara's expression tightened, a flash of pain in her eyes. "And the rest of us? Are we not enough for you?" "It's not that," I said, keeping my tone gentle. "Things got complicated, Clara. Hannah, she keeps it simple." She gave a bitter laugh. "Simple? Or safe? What do you mean?" I asked, unease creeping in. Clara leaned closer, her gaze intense. "You're running from what you really want, Ethan, because it scares you." I shook my head. "I just want to help, Clara, but it feels like everything I do gets twisted." Her eyes softened, vulnerable. "Twisted? Or are you just ignoring the truth?" "What truth?" I asked, my chest tightening. She hesitated, then spoke with quiet intensity. "I feel something for you, Ethan. I have since you moved here. Seeing you with Hannah, it hurts." Her confession stunned me, leaving me speechless. "Clara," I said carefully, "I care about you as a neighbor, but I don't feel the same. I'm sorry if I've hurt you." She looked away, jaw tight, clearly stung. "Is it Hannah? Do you love her?" My face warmed, the question cutting deep. "I don't know if it's love," I said honestly. "But Hannah's special. She gets me." Clara nodded slowly, her eyes shadowed. "You can't make everyone happy, Ethan. Choose carefully who matters most." She stood abruptly and left, leaving a heavy silence in her wake. I sat alone, guilt and confusion swirling. Clara's words forced me to face the cost of my kindness, a tangled mess of hurt feelings and crossed lines. The rest of the day, her confession weighed on me, a reminder of the emotional labyrinth I'd stumbled into. The tension only grew. Vanessa's visits became bolder, her excuses flimsier, her touches lingering. Rachel's texts were relentless, each one sharper, demanding my time. I began to wonder if leaving Willow Creek was my only escape. I'd come for peace, but found myself ensnared in games I hadn't meant to play. One evening, after dodging Vanessa's calls, my phone buzzed with a text from Rachel. "I know what you want, Ethan, but does Hannah want you?" The words chilled me, striking at my deepest doubts. I read it again, heart racing, then glanced at Hannah's house. Her porch was dark, the silence amplifying my unease. Had I misread her kindness? Was I projecting my feelings onto her? Restless, I stepped outside, the cool night air grounding me. I'd thought Hannah was different, her sincerity a lifeline, but Rachel's message sowed doubt. Unable to bear the uncertainty, I walked to Hannah's house and knocked softly. After a moment, she opened the door, wrapped in a cozy sweater, her expression warm but concerned. "Ethan? Everything okay? Can we talk?" I asked, voice tight. "It's important." "Of course," she said, stepping aside. Her home was warm, a haven of calm against my racing thoughts. "I got a strange text from Rachel." I started, hesitant. "It suggested you might not feel the same way I do about you." Hannah's eyes softened, understanding dawning. "Ethan," she said gently, "Rachel's playing a game, trying to shake you with doubt. Don't let her." I paused, fear lingering. "But what if she's right? What if I've misread you?" Hannah stepped closer, her gaze steady. "I can't predict the future, Ethan, but my feelings for you are real. I see you for you, not what I want you to be. Trust that." Her words eased the knot in my chest, warmth spreading through me. Hannah was genuine, free of the games others played. As I walked home, I resolved to set firm boundaries with Clara, Vanessa, and Rachel. My heart was with Hannah, and I wouldn't let their manipulations pull me away. But Rachel's text still lingered, a shadow on my resolve. The next morning, I woke with clarity. The games had gone too far. To protect myself and my connection with Hannah, I needed to confront Vanessa and Rachel directly. No more sidestepping, no more ambiguity. It was time to set things straight. My first stop was Rachel's house. I took a deep breath, knocked firmly, and waited. The door opened quickly, Rachel standing there, her sharp eyes flickering between hope and caution. "Ethan," she said, her tone guarded as she read my expression. "Here to talk?" "Yes," I replied, voice steady. "We need to be honest about what's been happening." She stepped aside, letting me into her pristine living room. Rachel crossed her arms, waiting, her posture tense. "I value your friendship," I began, meeting her gaze directly, "but things have gotten too complicated. I didn't mean to get caught up in emotional games. I'm sorry if I gave the wrong impression, but my feelings don't align with what you're seeking." Rachel's eyebrow arched, her voice cool but measured. "This is about Hannah, isn't it?" "It's not just Hannah," I said gently. "It's about being true to myself and everyone else. I need things to be clear." She studied me, then sighed, her expression softening slightly. "Maybe you're right. Maybe we've all gotten carried away. Just watch yourself, Ethan. Things aren't always what they seem." "I understand," I said respectfully. "Thank you for hearing me out." Leaving her house, I felt a weight lift. One conversation down, one to go. I crossed the lane to Vanessa's house, steeling myself for the next confrontation. She opened the door slowly, her smile warm but tinged with surprise. "Ethan," she purred, leaning forward slightly, her eyes inviting. "I've missed you around." "Vanessa," I said firmly, stepping back to keep distance. "I need to talk about something important." Her smile faded, her gaze sharpening as she sensed my tone. "Go ahead," she said, her seductive air fading. "I appreciate your kindness," I started, holding her gaze, "but it's gone beyond neighborly. I didn't mean for things to escalate. My feelings are elsewhere, and we need clear boundaries." Vanessa searched my face, then nodded, her lips tightening with quiet disappointment. "Hannah then?" she asked softly, already knowing. "Yes," I said openly. "I care about her, and I need to honor that. I hope you understand." She sighed, her eyes dropping briefly. "I do, Ethan," she said reluctantly. "I thought you might be different, but you deserve honesty." "Good luck." "Thank you," I replied, relieved by her acceptance. With both conversations behind me, I felt unburdened, the tension that had gripped me for weeks easing. I knew where I needed to go next, Hannah's porch, a quiet haven in Willow Creek's storm. As I approached, I saw her sitting there, book in hand, her calm presence grounding me. She looked up, her smile warm and welcoming. "Ethan," she said softly, "you look like you've had a day." I laughed, the last of my anxiety melting away. "You have no idea. Can we talk?" "Of course," she said, setting her book aside. I sat beside her, turning to face her. "I spoke with Rachel and Vanessa," I said earnestly, my eyes on hers. "I was clear about how I feel and what I need. Hannah, through all this, you've been different, no games, just honesty. I've realized something. It's not just friendship I feel for you. It's more." Hannah's eyes widened slightly, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Ethan, I feel the same. But this town, the way people act, it worries me." "I know," I said, gently taking her hand. "I'm worried too, but together we're stronger. The complications won't disappear, but my feelings won't either." Hannah's smile softened, relief in her eyes. "You're right. I've guarded myself for so long, I forgot what it's like to trust someone fully. You can trust me," I promised, feeling the warmth of her hand in mine. "I'm not perfect, but I'll always be honest." She squeezed my hand, her gaze sincere. "That's enough for me." We sat in comfortable silence, the evening air wrapping around us like a promise. The neighborhood's whispers, Clara, Vanessa, Rachel, faded into the background. I noticed subtle movements behind curtains across the lane, their watchful eyes no doubt on us. But for the first time, I felt no unease. With Hannah beside me, I was steady, her presence a shield against the chaos. She leaned lightly against me, a quiet gesture of trust. "It won't be easy," she murmured. "They might not let this go quietly." "I'm ready," I said firmly. "With you, I'm not afraid." Hannah's smile was radiant, genuine. "Then we'll face it together." In that moment, I knew I'd chosen right. The games, the tension, the tangled emotions, they'd led me to clarity. Hannah was everything I'd been searching for, honest, grounded, real. As the sun dipped low, casting gold and lavender across Willow Creek, I felt a peace I hadn't known was possible. Looking at Hannah, her face soft with contentment, I silently vowed to protect what we'd built. The neighborhood's games no longer held power over me. My heart was hers, and I'd guard it fiercely. As we sat there, the fading light wrapping us in warmth, I glanced at her and smiled, a quiet gratitude settling in my chest. For the first time I thought, maybe just maybe, I've finally found where I belong.